Welcome back. In the U.S., the House Judiciary Committee has unveiled formal charges against President Donald Trump, a key move in the impeachment process against him. The first article, reviewed by the committee chief Jerry Nadler, accuses the president of abuse of power, and the second accuses him of obstructing Congress. Let's head over to our London studios now. Here's Simon Puse with Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. A paramedic who flew to New Zealand's White Island to rescue tourists after Monday's volcanic eruption has said the scene was like something out of the Chernobyl mini-series. Russell Clark went on the island in search of survivors and said everything was blanketed in ash. Dozens of tourists were on the island at the time. 6 have been confirmed dead. 8 others are feared to have died and about 30 have serious burns.
It was like I've seen the Chernobyl mini-series, and there was just, everything was just blanketed in ash. It's quite a shocking experience, I suppose, but we have to try and put that to the side for now and get on with what we're doing.
Meanwhile, New Zealand's Prime Minister greeted and thanked emergency service personnel who responded to the emergency, comforting those who risked their safety to help people off the island.
People from Australia, the United States, the UK, China, Germany, Malaysia, as well as New Zealand. To those who have lost or are missing family and friends, we share in your grief and sorrow, and we are devastated.
A 42-year-old man who killed at least 6 people in a hospital in the Czech Republic has died of his wounds after trying to kill himself. The death toll currently stands at 6 and another 3 people are injured. The attack happened in the early morning at the outpatient clinic of the University Hospital in Ostrava, 350 kilometers east of the capital Prague. It is unclear what motivated the shooting. The Chilean Air Force has reported the disappearance of one of its cargo planes that was headed to a base in Antarctica with 38 people on board. This radar image shows the route that the Hercules C-130 aircraft took and the point of its last known contact. Those missing include 17 crew and 21 passengers. Statements were released by the Air Force and the search and rescue team has been activated. Meanwhile, 4 American tourists escaped serious injury in Costa Rica after the small plane they were riding in blew its tyres, skidding to a stop on the runway. Paramedics and firefighters were on standby at the airport, but passengers and the pilots were able to walk off the plane without serious injuries. Heavy rains have battered parts of South Africa, submerging whole neighbourhoods and flooding coal mines and power stations in a nation already hit by electricity blackouts. At least 700 homes have been washed away near the capital. The state-run power utility warned of further electricity cuts, saying heavy rains had affected its operations. The cuts have also halted gold and diamond production at some leading mines. French workers have returned to the streets across the country ahead of government plans to overhaul the pension system, set to be announced on Wednesday. The demonstrations come amid continuing strikes, which for the past 6 days have paralysed part of the country's transportation network and made commuting, especially in Paris, increasingly difficult. Unions are hoping to exceed the 800,000 people they brought into the streets last week in an uprising against President Emmanuel Macron's proposed pension reforms. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been given the Nobel Peace Prize. The chairman of the Norwegian Nobel Committee gave a speech introducing the Prime Minister and praising the role he played in resolving the border conflict with Eritrea and promoting peace and reconciliation both in his own country and in the wider East African region.
Mr. Prime Minister, I got lost in words. I'm here to give you an award in the form of a diploma and a gold medal.
Abiy Ahmed was also instrumental in bringing the military regime in Sudan to the negotiating table, which led to the formation of a transitional power-sharing government. He sought to mediate between Kenya and Somalia in a protracted conflict over the maritime border between the two countries. And he has been actively involved in peace talks between South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and the rebel leader.
I accept this award on behalf of Ethiopians and Eritreans, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the cause of peace.
And finally, the world's largest traditional sailing ships have started a trip around the globe from their home port of Russia's Kaliningrad. During their voyage, the Sedov and Krusenstern will later be joined by the frigate Pallada. Together they celebrate the 200th anniversary of the discovery of Antarctica by Russian sailors and the 75th anniversary of the World War II victory. The journey is expected to cover more than 40 ports in the Americas, Africa, Europe and Oceania, accruing a total of around 100,000 nautical miles. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thanks a lot, Simon. To sports now, here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Thanks, Ijoma. Time now for the sports news. Nigeria's cricket team has arrived in South Africa as they begin the final phase of preparation for the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup. Nigeria is participating in the tournament for the first time in 100 years and will be hoping for a good outing when the 20-day event begins in January. 16 teams will be taking part in the tournament, split into 4 groups of 4. The top 2 teams from each group will advance to the Super League, with the bottom 2 teams in each group progressing to the Plate League. 2 lovely goals, one from Naby Keita and one from Mohamed Salah, has handed reigning European champions Liverpool FC a spot in the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. The Reds finished top of Group E with the win against Salzburg, who dropped into the UEFA Europa League. Napoli finished as runners-up in the group thanks to a 4-0 thrashing of Genk. Dortmund joined Barcelona in the round of 16 following a 2-1 win against Slavia Prague in their final Group F clash, and Barca beat Inter 2-1. Benfica beat Zenit St. Petersburg 3-0, while RB Leipzig and Lyon played a 2-2 draw. In Group H, Valencia and Chelsea will be going to the knockout stage. Valencia beat Ajax by a lone goal, while Chelsea beat Lille by 2-1. And that's a wrap on sports news. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Back to you, Ijoma, for the wrap.
Thanks a lot, Ayotunde. And the main news again. President Muhammadu Buhari arrived in Aswan, Egypt, ahead of the Aswan Forum starting tomorrow, where African leaders will set the agenda for sustainable peace and development on the continent. The president is expected to arrive back in Abuja on Friday. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Do have a good night.